In London during World War II, 9-year-old George is the mixed-race son of a white woman, Rita, and Marcus, a black man who was deported to Grenada. George remains in London after the Nazi bombing has begun. Rita's father, Gerald, encourages Rita to evacuate George to the country for his safety. He is evacuated from the city amidst the Blitz, but defiantly jumps off the train to return to his mother. George gets on a goods train and meets 3 brothers. The next morning, George and the brothers escape from the train, although one of them is killed by an oncoming train. In flashbacks, George is called a black bastard by a neighborhood boy, and Marcus is attacked by some ruffians because he is with Rita as they leave a club. Rita sings a song on a BBC radio broadcast from the factory where she works. Afterwards, her colleagues protest and ask for the tube stations to be opened as shelters. Rita is criticized because of her son, whilst spending time in a local pub. Jack, Rita's friend, argues with a man who was rude to Rita. George arrives in London but cannot find his home in Stepney. George meets Ife, an air raid warden, who cares for him and brings him to a shelter. George wakes up the next morning and learns that Ife was killed trying to help a woman evacuate her house during the bombing. George is wandering the streets when Jess, a member of a gang of thieves, pretends to help him. Instead, George is threatened to help them steal from a damaged jewelry store and a bombed-out club. He escapes from the gang and ends up in an overcrowded underground station. As the morning nears, the tube station begins to flood. No one can escape because the gates were locked to prevent further overcrowding the night before. George is able to escape with the help of others. George gets help and the gates are opened, allowing people to escape. George wakes up in a strange bed. A woman is seemingly helpful, but has called the police because there is a missing child notice posted for George. George escapes from the house. In reaching his house, George sees his grandfather has died in the bombing, but is quickly reunited with his mother.